Meanwhile, Donald, you know, it's Autism Awareness Day, and the facts came out last week that so many more people are being diagnosed with autism than before. Have you been thinking about that?
Well, I've been very much involved with it over the years. I have some great friends, Bob and Suzanne Wright, who used to head up NBC, as you remember,
Sure.
and they've really devoted their life to autism, and they've had a serious event take place in their family, and they're fantastic people. And I've helped them over the years, and we've had fundraisers at Mar-a-Lago and other places, and I've gotten to be pretty familiar with the subject. And, you know, I have a theory, and it's a theory that some people believe in, and that's the vaccinations. I mean, we never had anything like this. This is now an epidemic. It's way, way up over the last 10 years. It's way up over the last 2 years. And, you know, when you take a little baby that weighs like 12 pounds into a doctor's office and they pump them with many, many simultaneous vaccinations, I'm all for vaccinations, but I think that when you add all of these vaccinations together, and then 2 months later, the baby is so different and lots of different things have happened. And I've known cases. I knew a case, a 2-year-old child went for the vaccination. The child was fine. A month later, the parent was up in arms, didn't know what was going on because the baby had just lost it.
Right. And you know that most physicians disagree with that. And the studies,
they do.
And the studies have said that there is no link. It used to be thought that it was the mercury in those vaccinations, right, which they have not had for years. And yet we're at the highest number in recent time of autism. So maybe it's environmental.
Well, it's also very controversial to even say, but I couldn't care less. I mean, I've seen people where they have a perfectly healthy child, right, and they go for the vaccinations, and a month later, the child is no longer healthy.
It sounds like something Doug Flutie, your former quarterback, said happened to his son. At about 2.5, he stopped talking, and I don't know if that's related at all to the vaccine.
Well, it happened to somebody that worked for me recently. I mean, they had this beautiful child, not a problem in the world, and all of a sudden they go in, they get this monster shot. You ever see the size of it? It's like they're pumping in, you know, it's terrible, the amount. And they pump this into this little body, and then all of a sudden the child is different a month later, and I strongly believe that's it. Now, they have vaccinations, but do them separately and over an extended period of time, not all at one time.
So I think it's a good point. I had no idea you were this involved in that, but we'll definitely look into it, doing a segment a little bit later.
Trump, as president,
well,
you would...
I'd like to respond.
Going right to you.
I'd like to
Mr.
respond.
Trump, as president, you would be in charge of the Centers for Disease Control and the National Institutes of Health, both of which say you are wrong. How would you handle this as president?
Autism has become an epidemic. 25 years ago, 35 years ago, you look at the statistics, not even close. It has gotten totally out of control. I am totally in favor of vaccines, but I want smaller doses over a longer period of time. Because you take a baby in, and I've seen it, and I had my children taken care of over a long period of time, over a 2 or 3 year period of time, same exact amount. But you take this little beautiful baby and you pump, I mean, it looks just like it's meant for a horse, not for a child. And we've had so many instances, people that work for me just the other day, 2 years old, 2.5 years old, a child, a beautiful child, went to have the vaccine and came back and a week later got a tremendous fever, got very, very sick, now is autistic. I only say it's not, I'm in favor of vaccines. Do them over a longer period of time, same amount.
Thank you.
Just in little sections.
Dr. Carson.
And I think you're going to see a big impact on autism.
Dr. Carson.
It was very, President-elect Trump was very thoughtful on the issue. He asked me to chair a commission on vaccine safety.
Vaccine safety.
Yeah. And scientific integrity. To make sure that we have scientific integrity in the vaccine process for efficacy and safety of vaccines. President-elect Trump has some doubts about about the current vaccine policies, and he has questions about it. He says his opinion doesn't matter, but the science does matter, and we ought to be reading the science, and we ought to be debating the science, and that everybody ought to be able to be assured that the vaccines that we have, he's very pro-vaccine, as am I, but that they're as safe as they possibly can be.
Did you guys talk about you taking any type of an official role in the transition or in the
He
administration?
asked me to chair a commission on vaccine safety and scientific integrity.
And what did you say?
I said I would.